Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday, 7 o'clock. That means it's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live. Feels good to be back. If you're joining us here, don't forget, click like, click subscribe, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your landscaper. Those guys are going to get started here pretty soon. Warmer weather in most of the country, especially here in the Kansas City area. Help spread the word.
We're going to need something to listen to.
Fellas, it's been a couple weeks since we've gotten on here. Took a little bit of a break, but we're back. We got some stuff to talk about. So how have you guys been doing the last couple weeks? Nick?
Good. Going, I had my Sunday withdrawals that I went through where there's no football, there's no new Chief stuff. You've watched all the Super Bowl stuff 5 times already.
500.
And yeah, or more, right? And but now I'm past it. It's getting into springtime here. It's good, man. How about you, Bo? How are you doing?
It's been strange, man. It's been real nostalgic for me the past couple of weeks. I've been hanging out in this real mysterious place called the Outside. Hadn't been out there for a while, man. Right. It's been great. Sundays are wide open. Just going out and exploring the Vegas area. Right now it's cool because it's not like 140 degrees. Yeah. So you can go hiking in all the mountains. There's trails that they don't let you go hiking on in April through September. So yeah, it's a good time to be out here enjoying nature. How about you, man? What you been up to?
Just soaking up. The thing about winning the Super Bowl is the offseason is badass, right? Because you don't have
all the cool highlights come out.
Yeah. You don't have that sadness or that. I mean, I'm looking forward to next year, but you know how you really look forward to next year when your team doesn't make it as far as you thought, when they lost the Super Bowl to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or when they lost the AFC Championship game to the Bengals. It's just you didn't have that finality. You didn't have that closure of the season. Not this time. You get to gloat. You get to go buy some dope Super Bowl merchandise. I don't know. I don't know how many more Super Bowls I can afford for the Chiefs to win, but I'm enjoying this one. It's been good. Just trying to take some time. You're talking about Sundays, man. Sleeping in a little bit and get some stuff done. You can go do some stuff other than Chiefs. And like I said, you don't have that hangover really the all off season when your team doesn't finish where you want them to. So
right.
I've been doing good. Looking forward to being out there in Vegas with you here. About a week and a half?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Out there in the desert, be hitting up some casinos and talking some shit to some Raiders fans out there. So looking forward to that.
Getting stabbed.
They're in hiding, man. They're not wearing their stuff out. So it's great to just rock your Chief stuff here, right. Dude. Just loud and proud.
Yeah, I was out there last May, I want to say. I think it was about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. I was out there. And that was after they'd opened the stadium, and you go everywhere and you see the Raiders shit everywhere, and kind of put a weird vibe being out there in Vegas. But I'd be wearing KC stuff every day. I guarantee that. We'll be wearing this out there, rubbing it in some Raiders fans' faces. So.
Dude, even if I'm not wearing Chiefs stuff and I see somebody wearing Raiders gear, I'll just go, "How about those Chiefs?" as they walk by.
Nice. Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. There's been some developments and some news here the last couple of weeks since we had our season finale, postseason Super Bowl celebration show. If you haven't checked that out yet, go back the couple episodes ago. It would have been the last full episode. We put some shorts. Bo's got some cool live Super Bowl footage that he's put up on the channel. If you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you go back and check out some of those shorts and some of those bite-sized clips that Bo got from the action out there in Arizona. Super cool that you got to go experience that, man. I'm still jelly
Dude,
no
so
doubt.
okay,
But
so I finally found a link to watch the whole game, right?
yeah,
And so this was like 3 days ago. Watch the whole thing, like looking for me the whole time, right? Just like, oh, I'm in that section. Oh, that, it's all like, I'm like
yeah,
that big. You can't really, dude. They never have like a great shot, but
right.
oh, dude, just like being able to like relive it though was so cool. Just rewatching all the
Yeah.
plays. It's amazing how much you forget, and but then it just like instantly kicks back in. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that being a thing, and yeah, just hearing the crowd noise through the TV and then like hearing what the announcers harp on versus like what you're seeing live is so different. But
Sure. Yep. Very cool. Try to get the things in order as they happen best we can here. First and foremost, Eric Bieniemy leaves the Chiefs. He's moved on to Washington Commanders, a lateral move that
almost
has
Redskins.
been kind of like hotly discussed on national media, on social media. People thinking it's fair, it's unfair that he has to take a lateral move. He hasn't got a head coaching job. I don't know how much of that we want to get into, but just what do you think? Looks like Matt Nagy's replacing him as the OC, who was obviously here before in that capacity when we had Alex Smith. Did a great job. I don't really worry about a drop off there with Matt Nagy. So
No,
I'd just be interested to see Eric Bieniemy's going from the Chiefs and Andy Reid, getting out of Andy Reid's shadow. Definitely don't have the quarterback in Washington that you have here. He's going to be in full control of that offense out there. Ron Rivera, the head coach, is a defensive-minded coach, so he's going to let Eric Bieniemy. That's going to be his baby out there, that offense. Nick, what do you think you see? How successful do you see Eric Bieniemy being in Washington?
Well, I heard today that they're getting rid of Carson Wentz, so that's
Are
going to
they?
be a
Wow.
little. He's kind of turned into a turd right over the last couple of seasons. Just tries to extend plays and it doesn't make it happen more often than not. So look, I wish him well. He won 2 Super Bowls here with us as an offensive coordinator. It's weird to see a guy get interviewed that many times for a job and not get it, especially
Yeah.
when you look at the resume there, going to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years as the OC. Andy Reid has a pretty big coaching tree. A lot of people that have worked for him have gone on to success, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a great move for him, honestly, to move. I know that he'll get, like full reins and he's assistant head coach and stuff, but it's hard to see him having, that amount of success at that organization, right? The ownership group, the owners always constantly embroiled in things, maybe trying to shop the team, but I don't know. I wish he could have got a head coaching job, just off of his resume with the Chiefs, to be honest. Like, I know that there's some stuff in his past that is a little weird, and there's, I think that Matt Nagy's failure and then Doug Peterson, I know that he's got another coaching job and he won a Super Bowl, but he got fired from the Eagles too. And I think that kind of made people a little gun shy, that maybe after these guys get a couple years removed from Andy Reid, some of that magic wears off. Maybe the playbooks, aren't there anymore. So I wish him well. I wish him nothing but success, but yeah, it seems like that's not maybe the greatest landing spot for him. But if he turns it around, that's the proof's in the pudding there, right? So
right, no doubt, yeah.
I kind of see it a little differently, right? Like I kind of see it like a almost a little step up. I mean, it's not like huge. It's not a head coaching position anywhere, but I mean, we talked about it way early in the season. I think one of the Kelsey brothers leaked it on the pod. It was obviously Travis leaked it, but I mean, they were having a conversation. I don't know how Jason got him to do it, but he essentially kind of said that Andy Reid was calling all the plays, right? And Bieniemy was just kind of there. We saw the scuffle on the sidelines or argument or whatever. So, I mean, there's obviously some dissonance there already. So I'm kind of seeing him as like a way for him to just get out from the shadow of Andy Reid, prove that, he's got what it takes to take a mediocre team and kind of turn them around. And if he has the skill set that he says he does, that shouldn't be too big of an issue. I mean, they're going to need a quarterback. That's kind of obvious, but I think it's a great move for him to kind of get out there and show him like, hey, yeah, I can do this. I can call plays. It wasn't just all Andy Reid and the staff. Like, I was a big part of it. So Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how he does out there. Doesn't necessarily have the players and the weapons that he had here, but maybe the guy can come up with some creative stuff on his own. Maybe he soaked up enough of that creativity and some of the play design from all the years he spent with Andy.
Yeah,
like
certainly probably did.
We've got some friends of ours popping up here in the chat. Looks like we got Big Doug and John V and Chris. Good to see y'all.
Cheers, guys.
Oh shit! What's up, everybody? How you guys doing tonight?
Missed y'all. Be interested to see how you all think Eric Bieniemy will do in Washington. You think he's success, failure? Does he use that to springboard to a head coaching position? I agree with a lot of the things both of you guys said. To me, you see a lot of these offensive coordinators that run offenses, even assuming that Eric Bieniemy was running the offense or calling most of the plays. It's just a lot of times when you see these OCs that have Hall of Fame quarterbacks go to a team that doesn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback, they just don't do as good.
For sure.
How long did the guy in Denver last? The offensive coordinator he was with Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. Hackett. Yeah, he went to Denver. He didn't even last a year. I've seen Josh McDaniels leave the Patriots and Tom Brady a couple times. That hasn't really worked out well. The other guy that was with Peyton Manning in Denver that went to the Jets, he didn't have any success as a head coach. You referenced the New Heights show there. I think the thing that hurt Eric Bieniemy was some of the things Nick mentioned maybe with his past, although they were a long time ago, far into his past. Not saying that things from your past, if you've moved on, should continue to haunt you forever, but they're things that people are sensitive to, especially these days. And I just feel like word was around the league that Andy was calling the plays, running the offense, and Eric Bieniemy was just along for the ride. So he's got to go out and he's got to go and get his own successes is what teams are wanting to see. I'm going to tell you right now, if he goes there next year and Washington all of a sudden is a top 15, top 10 offense, he will have a head coaching job very quickly. So it's up to him now, and there will be no more excuses for him to not do it or to do it. So good luck to him. Appreciate everything he did with the Chiefs. He like him or not, or how much he did or didn't do. He was here, and you mentioned it, won 2 Super Bowls. So
like Nick said, best of luck to him, man. I appreciate everything he did for us, man. Like, he was a huge part of us winning those 2 Super Bowls. So yeah,
absolutely. We got some other folks leaving the Chiefs. Probably the biggest move so far has been the release of Frank Clark, a guy that kind of mysteriously to me has been very polarizing in Chiefs Kingdom and amongst Chiefs fans. A lot of people love Frank Clark. A lot of people think that he was overpaid and didn't produce to the amount of draft picks that we gave up for him and the amount of money we paid him. There has been some rumors that maybe he's going to go shop around and he could come back if he doesn't get the payday he's looking for. Chiefs save about $21 million in cap space by getting rid of him. I think his cap number was going to be $28 million. He was going to be like the most expensive or the second most expensive player on the team after Patrick Mahomes. That's just, quite frankly, no pun intended, that's just too much money.
Hey-o.
That's too much money for him. So best of luck to him. If he can go get a big payday somewhere else. He helped his team get 2 rings, man. Made big plays. You saw all offseason he was mentoring and taking George Karlaftis under his wing, teaching him a lot of the tricks of the trade. So myself, I'm a big Frank Clark fan. I think the trade was absolutely worth it, and all the money we paid him
completely.
However many years you hear, totally worth it. The guy stacked Ryan Tannehill to send this team to their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Yep.
The guy is 3rd all-time postseason sacks in NFL history. He shows up in the biggest moments. He had some legal issues, and there's been some people that just, like I said, didn't think he produced for what we gave up for him, what we paid. But myself, I'm a little upset to see Frank Clark go. Nick, how do you feel about Frank Clark leaving, and how do you view the trade and the contract that we gave him?
It's sad to see him go. All the things you said, plus he gave us 2 of the best post-game interviews you'll ever hear.
Yeah,
A
he
couple of
did.
EFC championship game wins.
Right.
Especially knowing some of the personal tragedies he's gone through. He had several family members die in a house fire, comes back, wins the Super Bowl, overcomes some of the legal troubles that he had. That dude earned every single penny the Chiefs ever paid him with how he performed and what he did for this team in the postseason. I mean, that's when you need people to show up, and that's when Frank Clark showed up, right? So it sucks to see him go. I'm going to say, John B., like, if you're going to take another dude that's an edge rusher with the number 55 from the Chiefs and pay him a huge contract, you guys feel free to go for it. But no, it's sad. It's sad to see him go. I love his attitude. I love what he brings to the defense. He's a leader in that locker room. Like when you look at the stuff they put out, right? Like, this is my phone screen. Like, there's only a few players on there, right? One of them's 55.
Yeah.
He was one of the marquee people on the team, and he's a big reason that we had the success that we had. And if you said we were going to trade for this dude and we're going to win 2 Super Bowls with him on the defense, and the defense was going to make some big plays in the postseason that we're going to, seal it. He's going to close out some games that are going to help us go to the Super Bowl, close out the Super Bowl. Like, you take that every time, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Bo, what do you think about Frank Clark leaving, and how do you view his time here with Kansas City? Success?
Yeah. I mean, I echo everything Nick just said. I mean, not to beat a dead horse, dude, but what a tremendous player. What a tremendous pickup. I mean, man, we've talked nothing but good stuff about the guy, like how much added pressure him and Chris Jones, right? Like when they play well, our defense is just on fire, right? So it's like he's such an integral part of making sure our defense is in the game. He's one of the emojis on my recent emojis that's always there, right? So it's just like, man, it's gonna suck to see that one not pop up anymore. Can't say enough good things about the guy. Yeah, dude, just so much tenacity and grit. Big part of everything. I've read some weird stuff though about this, right? Like you kind of alluded to it that he did get released, but his relationship with Andy Reid is that of like almost like a father figure. He said, right? Like they have like a really special relationship, and they said like don't count him out from coming back too quickly, right? Like there's a chance that he might come back. There's a special relationship there. He's talked so much about Kansas City. It's one of those things though. You get like a Super Bowl team, right? You want to try to keep everybody, but at the end of the day, it's just not realistic to pay everybody Super Bowl money. So, I mean, we faced it before. I mean, from a team standpoint, not really worried about it, but just, man, it just sucks. You're just like, he's so good. I would love to see him come back, but completely understand if he wants to go, to a team that wants to pay him the big bucks.
Yeah. You mentioned Chris Jones. We saw a lot of the growth of him from a really good, solid player in his first year or so at the Chiefs to just absolute dominant game wrecker once Frank Clark was there, taking some attention on the edge. It really helped Chris Jones develop into who I still consider the defensive player of the year last year. I know the Nick Bosa won the award and he had a sack and a half more, but you look at a lot of these advanced stats and like next gen stats and PFF grades and other websites that grade stuff, and he's far and away graded and ranked higher than Bosa and these other guys, even Aaron Donald at this point. So, yeah, he really helped Chris Jones come along. Would love to see him back, but just wanted to make sure we paid our respects to the man in case he doesn't come back. This is the first episode that we've done. He's not a Chief right now. The Chiefs went on their social media and did the farewell posts and the thank you posts for Frank Clark. Yeah. So, Frank, if you ever see this, man, I love you. And hit me up so I can figure out how to get a Frank Clark jersey. I've been looking one for about 2 seasons now, and I can't find one anywhere. I think with the way his contract was and extensions and whatever, I don't know why it's so hard. It's hard to find jerseys nowadays, man. Aside from like 2 or 3 players, I remember used to go to the pro shop at Arrowhead, and they have jerseys of like almost every fucking starter.
Yeah, like punters and backup QBs.
And now you go there and it's Patrick and Travis and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Chris Jones. I was looking for a Snead jersey. I couldn't find one. So I don't know what's happened there. They can't be super expensive for the team to make and buy and have on the racks out there. So, but yeah, good luck to you. Best wishes, Frank. If it's somewhere else, man, I'll be rooting for you and I'll be pulling for you and wishing you success. Unless you go like the Raiders or the Broncos. In that case, you're like Neil Smith and you're dead to me. So another player that looks like he might not be coming back, Orlando Brown. Somewhat of a surprising move to not use the franchise tag on the Pro Bowl left tackle. He's another guy that is polarizing in Chiefs Kingdom. They like him or they hate him. What are your thoughts, Bo? Orlando Brown, did you want to see him come back? Do you think he's as good as what a lot of people think he is and deserves a big payday, or do you think it was smart of the Chiefs to maybe look elsewhere at that position?
Yes. Completely yes to everything. No, I mean, I have recency bias, right? Because the last couple games I saw him playing, man, he stepped up, 0 sacks, like very few pressures, like the O-line was clicking. But if you looked at everything through the season, the numbers of him and I think Wiley, man, were just kind of like astronomically bad, right? So, I mean, I think they're kind of just playing the money ball aspect to it, looking at the production throughout the year, not necessarily the recent game. So mixed emotions, right? Like I never hated the guy. I thought he was okay, but the numbers really didn't back up that statement too often. But when it mattered, it mattered. So, again, I want to just keep the same team that won the Super Bowl. Like, let's do it again. Let's do it. Just bring on better players, right? So,
right.
It's hard for me to like get in there. Like, should they have kept him? Should they cut him? They have such better analytics than I could ever have. But I do remember him and Wiley being like a point of contention for pretty terrible numbers. Like, I think probably the worst in the league. I think.
Yeah, they were ranked and graded consistently in the bottom third or quarter of the league as far as offensive linemen. And some of the things too is like with Patrick Mahomes' mobility and his escapability, I feel like Orlando Brown got beat a lot, but it didn't turn into a sack or a pressure because Patrick's a friggin' magician back there.
Yeah.
And like a Houdini can just disappear and pop up somewhere else, almost like he could teleport out of trouble. So I think maybe that's factoring in the Chiefs' decision-making there a little bit. They've reinforced the inside of that line with draft picks and free agents with Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, and then bringing Joe Tooney over and giving him a pretty good payday from the Patriots. I feel like the Chiefs, they want to protect the middle. They want to keep the inside of that pocket clean, protect Mahomes there. The edge rushers takes a little bit longer to get to. He can step up into the pocket behind those guys there in the front. He can get out. He can run. Like I said, he's just amazing in his ability to get out of trouble and turn plays that, quite honestly, would be sacks for about 28 other quarterbacks in the league into a non-sack. Nick, Orlando Brown Jr., you think Chiefs are making a mistake by possibly letting him go? Should they have paid him? What do you think?
I don't think that they should have franchise tagged him. I don't think that he was performing at that level, right? I think that you can find a replacement level guy that is making replacement level money and get probably the same productivity out of him. We have a lot of draft capital. We might be able to trade up, get somebody, like a good replacement in the draft that you can get cheap for 4 or 5 years. I just don't think that you have the capital with Patrick's, contract. I mean, I know that we may talk about what some of the other quarterbacks are going to be making, but you're paying Patrick Mahomes all that money. He's going to need to be smart, and you can't be paying these guys these huge contracts. Coming off the Super Bowl win, he's going to be getting paid a lot of money, regardless of how he performs. So I'm okay with letting him go. I think that in the postseason, he performed better than he did throughout the regular season. But the regular season, he was often a person that we were frustrated with, his performance and how often he was giving up pressures. So I think they made the right move.
Yeah, it was his. Excuse me. It was his guy that hurt Patrick on that play. Now that play took a while to develop, and Patrick kind of ran over to the side there, and so he had to protect for a long time. I saw some people on Twitter and on social media, some former linemen saying that play wasn't necessarily Orlando Brown Jr.'s fault, but it was still his guy. And I feel like clearing this cap space, first of all, they need to do it because the draft is coming up, and you got to have room, you got to have cap space to play some of these guys, especially if you got a lot of picks and you plan on drafting a lot of guys. But it's also getting time to pay Chris Jones some serious money. And so I think the Chiefs are looking at those two guys. We can walk on Clark and save $21 million, and we can not pay Brown top. The franchise tag is it's what, an average of the top 5 highest paid players of that position, or top
10,
3. I don't care how big of a fan you are of Orlando Brown Jr. He's not a top 3 or top 5 left tackle in the NFL. So I don't know that he warrants that kind of a payday. And Chris Jones, you got to figure out a way to pay Chris Jones and keep him happy and keep him here. We've talked about it on the show before. He's the Patrick Mahomes of the defense right now.
Yep.
Most important player on that defense. And he's a game wrecker at a position that is very hard to find that kind of production from on the interior line defensive tackle spot. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with them letting go of those two guys. I'm definitely going to miss Frank Clark more than Orlando Brown Jr., but who knows? It's hard to predict the future, see what happens. I think they look to replace probably left tackle maybe too in the draft. They've got picks. Maybe you could use some of those to move up higher maybe in the first round and get you a guy. Maybe they're wanting to do that with a receiver or something too. So when we get a little bit closer to the draft, we'll kind of break that down more in detail. But kind of some
50 days away today. I think that's what I saw. The draft's 50 days away today.
And it's in Kansas City.
Yep, here in KC, it's April 27th, I think. April 27th and 28th. So looking forward to that. That's going to be cool. I might try and get down there somehow and check that out and see if we can't maybe do some shorts or maybe even broadcast live from that sucker somehow. I don't know how we do that, but we got some time to think about it. Other than that, it's been kind of quiet, really, with players and movements. I don't know what else, if there's any other guys really to talk about there. We'll obviously be keeping an eye on signings and extensions and free agency, which opens up and will get ramped up and really starts getting lively after the draft because teams see what positions they need that they can't fill in the draft. So some other kind of Chiefs news, Travis Kelce, he's been doing the Super Bowl celebrity tour. I don't know how many of the people here in the chat caught Travis Kelce on Saturday Night Live, but it was pretty funny.
He was good.
Bo, did you catch it on Saturday Night Live, or did you see the skits afterwards? And if so, what did you think? And maybe what was your favorite one?
So I did catch it live. It's the first time I've actually caught Saturday Night Live in a very long time. And I don't know, like they kind of leaned into the creeper role a little bit with a bunch of his skits, but he pulled it off, man. I loved it. For a football player, he nailed it, dude. He looked loose. He looked kind of better than some of the SNL actors. Some great little taglines came out of there. I liked how they like pointed back to him like at the Super Bowl with the more stuff, right? That was pretty good. It was great. It was great. He caught me off guard with some that I'm not going to repeat because they're just a little inappropriate for YouTube, but they had me belly laughing. They caught me off guard. I was chuckling, man.
But they're okay for network
TV. Yeah. I just,
no,
with the dolls, it was pretty, the American Girl dolls or whatever it was. Yeah. That was that caught me off guard. It's so funny.
Yeah, that one was funny. Nick?
I thought the Mama's funeral one where he played the grandma's boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was running her funeral. It was amazing nobody broke character in that because that shit was funny as hell, man.
Yeah.
Like, especially he's got that big string he's pulling on her back and she's like walking. Dude, it was too good.
So good.
Yeah, what did he call him? Vanillasaurus Rex or something? The one guy did. Yeah, it was funny.
He's just acting stuck up because he got that white girl with the little head with him.
Right, yeah, dude. So funny. So funny. I really liked the one where he ran into his ex-girlfriend at the bar or the club.
Oh.
And she finds out he's dating somebody else, some other woman, and she starts crying. And he's like, yeah. She's like, oh yeah, I work at this job. She goes, oh my God, that's my dream job. And she's like, got the fake tears going, and it's like squirting out of her eyes. And Travis is like, I don't understand. Like, we went on one date, and then Jason Kelsey comes over.
3 dates.
Right. And it turns out she's the girl is dating Jason Kelsey. He pops up, has a cameo appearance there in that skit. And he's like, is this guy bothering you? I'll take care of him. Because I definitely can take care of this guy for you. It was funny as hell to see those guys pop up there and Jason Kelsey get a little bit of the spotlight.
I loved it when they tried panning over to Jason Kelsey. He was meant to be serious because like Kelsey's digging into him, right? And he's like, so they're trying to hold a mean face. Just trying not to laugh, dude. It was so great. Yeah.
It was in his monologue, right? Travis was talking about my whole family was there and it was great and everybody was happy for me and all my fans and my mom and dad. And even though they were winning by 10 points at half, my brother was happy for me. And they like go over to Jason Kelsey in the crowd and he's just like,
trying to be serious. He was cracking a smile the whole time. So funny.
Travis is living the good life right now, man.
Good for him. He's earned it, man.
Yeah. Hard work. Guy's come a long way. There's maturity issues, which everybody's aware of, and he's kind of grown up right in front of us, and he's been a key part of bringing 2 Super Bowl championships.
Oh yeah,
to Kansas City. Just saying that, man. Tony Gonzalez has been a lot of good players. Jamal Charles is a lot of really, really good players. Now those guys didn't get to play with Patrick Mahomes, so that helps out a lot. But we've had a lot of great Hall of Fame caliber players here that weren't able to bring the hardware.
Dude, he's definitely one of them. That's for sure.
And Travis Kelsey's done that. So just happy to see that guy.
Did you guys see Did you see the video that made the rounds on the internet today of the kid coming out of anesthesia? He's like, I'm Travis Kelsey. Make him say, just all coming out of sedation. Just so great. Dude, he's such a great inspiration for little kids, too. He set himself up for a WWE career, I think, man. We're going to see him after his football career, I feel like.
It's going to be him and The Miz, huh?
I could see it. Imagine him on steroids, just jacked, dude. He would be huge. They'd call him the Yeti, right? He's already got the name, the Big Yeti.
Yep.
Come out.
Yeah, he's got the athleticism, no doubt about that. He can do whatever he wants after he retires from football.
Come out with that old Razor Ramon mullet, all wet with a toothpick. I could see him doing that.
He can he can hit the dance moves too, right? I mean, he's a showman. He can get out there. He can do all the dances that all the young people out there like to do. He's funny. He's a likable dude. Good looking guy. I mean, he's got it going on. He can do anything he wants after football, but. Let's hope he's still got another 3 or 4 really good years here for the Chiefs. So I get too far ahead of ourselves.
I feel you, John C. Every time he's on TV, my fiance says, "Oh wow, he's just so good looking." Like every single time, doesn't regardless if he's in pads and you only see the back of him. Oh wow, he's so good looking. Like, shut up.
Oh my God, it's Travis Kelsey.
Right.
Yeah, my wife too.
Yeah, I mean it's rough, that lifestyle. I can relate a little bit. So. But yeah, no, Travis, good for that dude. He's earned it and he's living it up. Some other news we wanted to get to. I want to talk about this while we got our man John B in the chat. The locker room ran our guy John B, the king of Ohio Niners fans.
Champion of champions on his show.
Right.
2 wings.
He did the champ. So if you all recall, about how long ago would that be at this point? A couple months ago, we teamed up and did a collaboration with the Locker Room Rant, and we placed a bet on whoever's team went furthest in the playoffs or the Super Bowl won the bet, and the losers had to eat the crazy hot the Apollo green sauce, the hot ones, the last dab, crazy 2.5 million Scoville unit Apollo pepper hot sauce. For comparison, I think a habanero is about 200,000 Scoville unit, and this sauce is 2.5 million. So not kid stuff. And of course, Chiefs won the Super Bowl, so they won the bet for us. Thank you very much for not making us have to eat the super hot wings. Although, I mean, I can eat some pretty hot shit. So can Nick, but Bo's included in that group too. But they did
I'm curious now, though.
And they manned up. They did it. Tony and John and Nick, they were men of their word. They paid up.
They were.
It's all even now. Our guy John V manned up and did 2 wings. He crushed it.
And waited 3 minutes with no water, right?
Right. Waited 3 minutes, no water, no milk, no anything. But I got to tell Nick on Locker Room Rant, man, he was on that ice cream faster than a hobo on a ham sandwich, man. That dude, he was like, the wing bone wasn't even cooled off on the plate before he was hitting that ice cream.
And then he was talking about how it's not that hot. And he's sitting there just like eating ice cream. Oh, this is not that bad. I'm like, yeah, well, you shovel ice cream in your mouth, like, you know.
So if you haven't seen the video of the guys over Locker Room Rant, it's on their channel. They paid their bet off. Tony's face was as red as that TV screen behind my head in the background.
I just put the link to their that video of them doing it in the chat there. If anybody wants to go watch it,
I laughed so hard at that because he's eating it and then he's like, it's getting worse. It just keeps getting worse, and like his face just kept getting redder. My wife and I were watching that, just dying laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I almost keeled over in my chair when Tony took his bite. Like, you see the realization of how hot it's actually going to be for the next couple of minutes. It went from like, oh, and then just, yeah, so great.
Yeah. But I appreciate those guys paying up. That was a fun bet. Well, maybe we'll have to do something for next season here and work something out. If you haven't already gone over to their channel and given them a subscription and checked out any of their videos, you should go do that. They're hilarious. They do all sports too. They talk NFL football mostly, but they talk NBA. They were talking World Cup soccer when the World Cup was going on. Those guys that talk baseball, they do all sports. It's funny. It's really good stuff, and you should definitely. They are worth a subscription and some of your free time when you're consuming that content out there on the YouTube. It's better than anything you're going to get on ESPN or FS1 or any of these other hot take garbage shows with Skip Bayless and a lot of these other clowns. So go check them out. Give them a sub. Give them a like. They'd appreciate it. We'd appreciate it. I know we've seen some of our followers. I know Big Doug and Laney are big Locker Room Rant fans. I think I've seen Brenda and some other folks over there cross over checking out their show, which we definitely appreciate. And what else you guys want to get to here?
I'm curious. I saw that, Nick, you tried that Apollo sauce?
I did. Yeah, I bought a bottle.
How is it?
Just check it out. It's pretty hot.
Yeah. You should bring it to Vegas if you can.
Okay, I'll try to bring it to Vegas. I mean, I could eat some. You guys want to see me eat some on the show? We ain't got nothing else going on.
I mean, you don't have to brag, but
Scott's like, no, I don't want to see you eat it on the show.
No, I mean, if you want to go get some, go get some. I'm telling you not to.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it later. I don't have any wings or anything to put it on.
Right. I didn't do it, but I also don't need to torture myself to prove my manhood to myself or anybody else by eating some super hot stuff unnecessarily. So yeah,
I just don't think I've ever ingested anything with that Scoville rating before. I
will say this though,
I've had
like
some really hot stuff in my life though.
It's not only really hot though, and maybe John can back me up. I don't know. Maybe he said his taste buds were totally burned, but
it's more tingly than hot.
Really good. It's really good. It's got like almost like a fruity taste to it. So I mean, I thought it was like an enjoyable taste, is not just super hot. Because I've eaten really hot stuff that is kind of tastes like garbage, you know, but it's just like really high Scoville units, and you can tell they actually like made like a good hot sauce on this. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Ooh,
see,
John's talking about
yeah.
the mongoose. That's the shit. We're like, it's not hotter than mongoose. I gotta try that. Yeah, so, dude, you should send us a bottle.
Yeah.
I'm super curious about all these now.
Right. Big Doug.
Scott didn't have any milk. we
Nope.
were all trying it. Big Duck, like beforehand, but it's
No
I mean,
milk.
it's nothing to fuck with. Like that Apollo sauce will light your ass on fire. So
Yeah.
I don't believe you, John V. You crushed 2 wings, man. Handled it well.
did.
Well,
He had 3 dabs.
I think
on
you
his
got a new
wings,
title.
too,
I
right?
don't think you have to refer to yourself as a bitch.
Right. And
The
he
other
had
2
3
guys,
pretty
you
good
could
size.
definitely call them that.
Yeah, he had 3 pretty good sized dabs, dollops on those wings too. He had 6 dabs, I think. When you watch the Hot Ones show, they put 1 dab usually on the final wing, but they've
Right.
also had 10 super hot wings leading up to that.
Well, and I think
Progressively
the
hotter
sauce
each
is on the
time.
wing, and then they just put an extra dab, right?
Yeah, and we've got TMFK scrolling across the bottom there still. We were just talking about Travis.
Yeah.
He was on the Hot Ones show, and he was one of the he champed up and did the whole thing. He didn't hit the water, he didn't hit the milk, he didn't do any of that, and he ate all the wings, which you don't see very many people make it through without at least hitting the water. Travis crushed it. So yeah, just go when this show's over, or sometime when you got some free time, you want to watch get some Travis Kelce content. Just Google Travis Kelce Hot Ones, and it was pretty good. That's been a few years ago. That was not long after he did his Catching Kelce show, and he was like
Right.
the NFL heartthrob guy, and was throwing towels at referees and pretending to throw flags at them. So that's pretty good stuff there. But
Jesus, there's a product with 9 million Scoville. That's probably one of those ones that just doesn't taste like anything. It tastes like burning. That's one of my favorite Simpsons quotes.
What's that thing called? Like Satan's toe or whatever? It's like a sucker. I think that's
Right.
like 9 million Scoville units.
yeah, what's white phosphorus Scoville units? It actually burns a hole right through your tongue and out through the bottom of your jaw. Like, it's that hot. I think lava is probably about 10 or 12 million units. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be doing the mongoose. I don't think I'll be doing any 9 million Scoville unit sauce anytime soon. So,
Devil's spit. Ooh.
John, if you guys send me some if you guys send me some of that, I'll eat some on the show. Some mongoose. It's 3 million. What's another 500,000? That's just like adding another habanero on top of it, right?
right. Yeah,
I mean, at that point, is there really that much of a difference?
No. I mean, it Tony was talking about how his tongue was kind of numb, and it does get to that point where you're just like, I mean, I just can't. My body just can't register anymore, you know.
Right.
But
yeah.
I will say though, like what heat's weird though, right? And this is gonna be a little bit different because it's not like heat in your mouth. But I've lived in Arizona, I've lived in Vegas, and I've been to Vegas when in the summer when it's hot. There is a big difference between 110 and 115 degrees outside. So I could imagine, jump up 500 Scoville. It's probably like, oh yeah, there are levels to this shit.
Yeah, I was in Vegas in July one year, right around 4th of July, and I mean, it was, you walked out of the door of the casino and you were walking into the casino next door to get some AC. If you were wanting to go 4 or 5 buildings down, you were ducking in each doorway on the way down the strip there, bro. Fucking crazy, super hot. But so what else you guys want to talk about here? Probably be a little bit shorter shows. Probably won't be doing the hour and a half, 2 hours like we do during the season. We got games to break down and whatnot, but fellas, Nick, anything you want to get to? Anything on your mind you want to talk about?
what's your favorite piece of Super Bowl gear that you've got, or just gear from the season after the win?
Probably.
Dang, that's a good question. But did you already have yours in
I bought
mind?
like $10,000 worth of gear while I was at the Super Bowl.
I left it in Arizona.
So mine's not gear, but if you know me, I am a collector of stadium cups, and my guy Bo got me the holy grail of the collection. He got me a stadium cup from the Super Bowl. That's definitely the coolest thing I got from Super Bowl LVII. I mean, I got this shirt. It's pretty sweet. Got the trophy on it. I've definitely got some cool gear, but the cups, that's the crown jewel right now. How about you, Nick?
Well, clothing wise, I got this hoodie. Scotty was with me when I got it. They went half off, so I wasn't going to spend like 80 or $100 on one, but I'll spend like $40 on one. But probably my favorite is right back there. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I got Scott got me a newspaper. I don't know if this is going to fall off. Don't fall. Scott got me a newspaper, and then Bo sent me actual confetti from the Super Bowl win, and so I put it together in a frame. And
I like how you put it in there like it's actual confetti falling.
Yeah, like it's falling.
Better than what I did.
So that's probably my favorite piece of memorabilia I got so far.
Right.
It's gonna be hard to top that. I mean, that's actually from the game. So.
Right.
Mine's right here. You can see it. It says Red Hat right here. It's from the Super Bowl. It was a mad dash to get shit that said champions on it. Like there were people taking it out of the box. The dude's opening it. So I mean, like there wasn't that many of it, but I grabbed one. So that's my prize piece right there.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
I'd be interested to know what everybody in the chats answer this question be. Like, what's been your favorite like Super Bowl media that you've seen, like interviews or videos on YouTube or a show or whatever? There you go. Nice.
Hell yeah, John.
He's got himself a Jones jersey from
the gray ones. Those are cool. Yeah.
Yeah, those are dope looking. I liked those a lot. Those
yeah.
were sharp. Those were definitely sharp. A lot better than the one they put out from the first Super Bowl win. The one in Miami had this like really cheap, crappy looking plastic LIV patch like thing on it that didn't look anything at all like the one that was on the jersey.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed watching that All Access Super Bowl LVII. I think it was on NFL Films on YouTube, where it had all the players mic'd up and all the field action and just different camera angles from, like the sidelines and not necessarily just the TV broadcast angles of the game. And they had Patrick and Travis and Jason Kelsey and the coaches and the referees and a bunch of just sound and audio give you like a little bit of sneak peek on what it's like playing in the game and being down there and being kind of part of the action. So how about you guys? Bo, have you seen anything you just thought was like,
yeah, really dude. Yeah. That video specifically was really cool. I like anything that they dub Mitch Holthus in, dude. Like his voice is so iconic, man. So like the NFL Films had it in there, but they, the Kansas City Chiefs on their YouTube account, I think on their website too, released his whole play calling of the entire game. You can go and listen to it, and like it's kind of cool to like know where everything happened. So you just kind of forward to the like the touchdowns and everything like that. Just listening to like some of the like phrasing he uses, you could tell like he's just been in the game for so long. Like it's so great. His vocabulary is unmatched, and when he chooses to use his certain phrases and everything's just unmatched in this game. I haven't heard anybody greater than him in a long time. So that piece for me was probably the coolest I've seen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 65 Power Trap, man. The franchise, the season finale is well over an hour. We watched it at my grandparents' house. They have YouTube on their TV, but they don't really know how to get to it, so they wouldn't have been able to see it if we hadn't pulled it up. So we watched it with them at their house, and that was just really well done. They had Mitch Holthus in there talking about, he went 20 years where he wasn't even able to broadcast a playoff win, and then to go to 3 Super Bowls, and then just the calls from the game. And it's like the all access, where it's got some of the different angles, and, when they're going and they're about to win the game, like linearly, they posted like Patrick Mahomes talking about what it's like to go to the Super Bowl and win, and in an interview. And it was really well done, man. And then it goes all the way through the parade. So I'll say that just to be different, but yeah, there's been a lot of great stuff out there. That's really the cool thing, is that stuff it'll be out there forever, man. It'll,
Yeah, for sure. Bo, anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I saw the chat kind of mention it just to kind of keep conversation going for a little bit. Tom Brady, is he unretiring for a second, third, fourth? What is it? Third time, whatever it would be. No, you don't think
I
so?
don't think so. No, I don't.
Rich Eisen and Pat McAfee spreading some crazy rumors out there in the football ether, saying watch Miami, watch Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he comes back. He didn't look good this last year. Tampa. I mean, he probably should have retired a year ago. He probably should have stayed in retirement the first time. Yeah, I don't think he comes back, but I know there was some people talking about he'd come back and play for the Raiders too. I was like, please do. Go to kick his ass twice a year. That'd be nice. I'd enjoy that.
If you retire and you come
Yeah,
back,
John.
then like you should like have to start a new career over stat wise. You know, they like don't pile on because you retired. It's like,
Right.
oh no, that's done. That you closed the book on that when you took over the media, you know, during the Super Bowl week. And he does it. He's done it twice now. He's done it right, like in the Super Bowl week, to try to steal the shine from the teams that made the Super Bowl. Which, to be honest, I think is kind of a Bush League move. It's like,
Tom Brady, Tom Brady loves him some Tom Brady. There's no doubt about that. So,
right.
You think he comes back, Nick, or no?
I don't know. I mean, I hope not. You know, I know that there's something off about the way he looks now. He's fucking weird looking now. Like he doesn't look healthy. I mean, I'll be honest. Like you just looking at him, I don't know. Maybe that lizard person transformation, you know, finally is in full effect. But I don't know.
There's a lot of desperate teams out there, though.
It's irrelevant to me if he comes back. I don't think that if he comes back, he's going to be a huge factor, like you said, Scott. So, I mean, I kind of hope he comes back to, if he goes to the Dolphins and then sucks there, then that's just one less team we have to worry about, because otherwise the Dolphins have a pretty damn good team. So,
yeah.
Speaking of, I heard there were rumors that Lamar might go there since Baltimore's kind of giving him the shaft.
Bro, these quarterback contracts are crazy.
Yeah, Daniel Jones getting $40-something million a year.
Is that what it was? Is that what it broke down to?
He had one decent season. It wasn't even like it was that he wasn't even like he was that great this year. I mean, he was all right, but
fucking John V hit it. He looks like Tom Brady looks like he's been drinking embalming fluid.
Maybe he has. Who knows? But I don't know. The Lamar Jackson thing to me is, I think first of all, I think he's making a mistake by not having an agent. I don't think that's helping him out. But on top of that, the guy just he's not the greatest passer of the ball, and you've seen it the last 2 years with the injuries, with his style of play and his skill set. I don't think teams are wanting to sit there and just back the Brinks truck up and cripple the salary cap for a guy who I don't think he's going to be getting. I don't think his health is going to get better as time goes on with the way he plays.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see teams paying him a big fat payday, and he doesn't have an agent out there on his behalf getting one of these deals like you saw Kyler Murray get, and like Daniel Jones's agent are working for them. So I don't.
I normally would agree with you, dude, but then there's two quarterbacks in my mind that just keep standing out: Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. Right, like those guys got paid for. And I would say Lamar's better than both of those guys. So I mean, if they're kind of setting a weird bar, but
not at passing the ball. He's not. He might be. Russell Wilson was pretty. He's a pretty damn good passer. He fell off a cliff. And you see that with quarterbacks. It happens quick. When it goes, it goes. I don't. Deshaun Watson's weird because he didn't play for 2 years, basically. Who knows what that guy's going to come back like? But I think everybody in the NFL thinks the Browns made a mistake and are pissed off at him for the fully guaranteed contract that they gave him, because that resets the market or sets the precedent, whatever you want to call it. I think other teams are pissed about that. And just because one team went out and made a mistake and overpaid a guy and guaranteed him too much money doesn't mean another team should. And Deshaun Watson doesn't depend on the running.
I know what you're saying, but like Daniel Jones getting that contract, right? Like,
it's a bad contract. That's a mistake too.
Right. So like if it was just one instance, like, oh, like he's trying to point at one guy, and you're like, hey man, look at all these guys getting paid that I mean, I know however you want to feel about him. There is a debate there to say like he could be better than most of those quarterbacks, right? There's room there because there's mobility and everything. And in today's league, you need a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely deserves a lot more money than Daniel Jones, right? I mean, that's probably the argument. I mean,
yeah,
don't you think so?
He probably deserves to get paid more than Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones is almost trying to think of the word to use. That's almost like neglect of the franchise to give that guy that much money. The Giants. I don't know what.
Gross incompetence.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Who did the worst deal? Daniel Jones at $160 million for 4 years, or Derek Carr $150 for 4 years with the Saints?
Again, yeah, another one, dude. Kind of forgot about that. The Giants, I would kind of think, because I mean, the Saints at the end of the day, they still have Taysom Hill to run some weird Wildcat stuff, and that dude can easily be a good backup and replace Derek Carr if need to be. Giants, though, man, whew, I don't know. I just don't think he's a great quarterback for that team.
No, I think, like I said, I think the Daniel Jones contract and the Deshaun Watson contract and the Derek Carr contract, you can throw in the Kyler Murray contract for what it's worth. Those are all terrible contracts. Awful. They put those franchises in terrible positions. And I mean, if you want to go by what you think is fair or deserved, Patrick deserves about twice as much as all those guys are making. I mean, if Daniel Jones if you want to go by that theory, Daniel Jones got 40. Well, Patrick should probably be getting about 70 or 80 $million a year.
Yeah.
At some point, it just the sheer volume of the contract it just completely outweighs the value or what it does for somebody else. Because
Nick and I were joking about this before the show. Mahomes is damn near getting paid Daniel Jones money with the way the contract was structured, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just such forward thinking from our
Chiefs
office.
look locking that up, right?
Yeah. God, dude, right?
Yeah. Now I will say they gave a 10-year, $500 million commitment. So yes, Daniel Jones and some of these other guys are making more money per season than Patrick Mahomes, but they don't have 10 years. They don't have $500 million. In the bag.
They don't have job security in the NFL either. That's
right.
That's pretty underrated.
Right. So the Derek Carr thing, I almost drove my car off the road when I heard that on the radio.
I just sent an article to you guys with laughing emojis, just like, bro, I can't believe that.
So they're releasing. Who was their quarterback? Bridgewater, right? Who was the Saints quarterback?
No, they had
Winston, yeah.
Taysom Hill, and who's the guy they had another guy there. But
so did they release Winston? I've been out of the news for a while.
I don't know. I haven't said I don't. He was hurt or something, and so yeah. I mean, I think they're moving on from old Chuck and Duck. That's what I like to call him. That dude he'd throw it up and hope for the best. But yeah, some crazy contracts, quarterbacks getting overpaid, man. That's all that is. And maybe if you had an agent, you could use all that in your negotiation. I just firmly believe that the Ravens. I firmly believe the Ravens are looking at the guy saying, "We've already got the best out of the guy, and it's all downhill from here. Let somebody else overpay him." I think that's the way the Ravens are looking at it. And personally, I think that's a smart way to go about it if you're the Ravens.
Their backup, what was his name? Like
Tyler Huntley?
Huntley, yeah.
Mhm.
He didn't look terrible, man. Like he
No?
just looks like he
No.
needs reps and like get a little bit more comfortable in a live game situation. He looked just like Lamar in some aspects, dude. Super mobile, really quick.
Yeah.
Not a great thrower in most instances, but man, that would just come with reps. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. Maybe they're thinking that.
Yeah, some crazy money. I mean, to me, right now, how many quarterbacks are out there that are worth that kind of money? Like that $40 to $50 million a year range. Patrick, obviously.
Burrow, Allen,
Burrow. See, I think Allen's just another Lamar
Rodgers.
Jackson waiting to happen.
I completely agree with you, but I think
Mhm.
he could command that money if he wanted to.
Yeah. So, Nick, anybody we're missing here?
I'm trying to think. Lawrence.
Yeah, I think he needs to show a little bit more because he had a rough first year. But Urban Meyer was there, and
Right.
he was grinding on chicks and not flying with the team, and that was a bad deal. He, with Dougie P, his head coach out there now running that offense, he came to life this year. If he plays like he did this last half, 3/4 of this last season, the next 2 years, yeah, I think he gets that kind of money, and you could probably say he's probably worth that. But I want a little bit more of a track record, a little bit bigger sample size before paying him big money.
Jumping.
True.
I mean, that's what it was. To be fair, I think they were grinding on him, Scott.
No, it takes 2 to grind. Okay, so, and it wasn't his wife either, which didn't help him out, I'm sure. So, yeah, I wouldn't give Josh Allen a big payday either. The guy runs and is hurt too much.
He's already got his payday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's due in the $45 million range this year, or something like that. So,
yeah, no, Bills are gonna be interesting to see next year. Like, they did not look good the last third of the
they
season
fell
or in the
off
playoff.
hard.
And now you've got some infighting maybe there with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, and they be interesting to see what happens to that team next year. I can see them being like a 10-7 like team.
That's another team where they're gonna have a lot of players wanting a lot of money.
Especially if someone like Aaron Rodgers ends up with the Jets.
Yeah.
Tua comes back, or like Lamar or something ends up in Miami. You got a lot more competition in that division now. They missed their window. The 13-second drive, that was their chance. That was their year to capitalize, and they didn't get it done. So
they forgot to latch the window. They almost got it closed. Just forgot the latch.
Yeah. 13
Kick that
seconds,
shit right
baby.
open.
13 seconds, and Patrick Mahomes maybe ended the hope of another franchise.
I don't know why this just came to me, but the 13-second drive, right? I remember being at the Super Bowl. There's like 8 or 9 seconds left, right? And they're going to do their lateral pass or Hail Mary, right? And I remember hearing an Eagles fan like, well, Patrick did it in 13. We could see if we could do it in 8. And I'm just like, oh, man, the hope.
You ain't got Patrick, dog. Yeah.
they did not.
Nick, you talked to our guy, Jamie, since the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, no, he was congratulatory. Yeah, he was upset.
Pretty bad, was he?
Yeah, I mean, upset. Like, he not only that, but he had the flu that weekend, and so
Dude, double whammy.
yeah, it was just all around bad weekend for him. And yeah, all my Eagles friends, because I work with a lot of people in Philly. I mean, they even text me when Patrick got hurt right before half, and they're like Bev that I work with, she's like, I don't want to win. Like, if this is how we win, and then I was sitting there thinking when we were coming back, I was like, well, you ain't gonna win, so
yeah,
you don't have to worry about
that.
But no, I mean, I think that what sucks for the Eagles fans is this was their shot, right? They're Jalen Hurts is only 24, so he's going to be good for a long time. But they've got a lot of people on that team that are either going to move on, retire, get new contracts. They're not going to be able to really sustain that. And
he's going to want big money.
Yep, and Hurts is, they didn't really capitalize on the early years of his contract either, right? So, but I mean, they're still stoked that their team is good. So, I mean, it's better than where they were, right? A few years ago.
Yeah. But Chiefs window's wide open. So wide open, baby. Bunch of rookies. I mean, think about how many rookies were on that Super Bowl team.
8.
And they got cap space now. Oh, and by the way, they got 11 draft picks in the draft coming up. Good luck, NFL. That's all I got to say about that.
So if you're wearing your Veach or Reed pants, what would you guys be targeting going into the draft, right? Like, what are you looking for? I mean, I know they're looking at, they went in the combine, they know the players, but I'm just talking like position wise. What position groups are you interested in improving? What are you looking to bring onto the team to help ensure another year of a Super Bowl?
Nick?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, if we could get a good value pick for a left tackle replacement, somebody that we could see as being, good on our line for several years, that'll save us quite a bit of money on contracts. And then it's interesting because I know that we've got a futures contract on that guy that from the Bengals, and then was it Justin Ross that, was kind of hurt. I think he's still technically, under contract with us. See if he comes back, but I'd kind of like to see us look for, maybe move up to try to take a wide receiver earlier in the first round if we could get a really good wide receiver, like because I think we were still missing that wide receiver one. Those are the two, positions that I think we would want to look at. Letting go of Frank Clark, probably looking for somebody on the edge. We've got Carl Loftus who's coming on, but that's going to be a big hit to take there. So those would probably be the positions of need that I would look at addressing.
Yeah, I would like to see the Chiefs move up with some of these extra picks into maybe the middle half of the first round and get themselves a really good young wide receiver. I know they got Tony, but you look at it, McCole Hardman's questionable whether he comes back or not. Juju's questionable whether he comes back or not. They won the Super Bowl after moving on from Tyreek Hill, but I don't know how sustainable that is as like a long-term plan, trying to maintain a top offense in the NFL with just a bunch of average to slightly above average wide receivers. I'm interested to see what Kadarius Toney can do if he can stay healthy and have a year, a full offseason to learn the offense, connect with Patrick. I know MVS is still under contract for another couple of years, but he was too up and down for me this year. I know he was the man in the championship game, so he showed up in that game, and they needed it. Don't win the Super Bowl without that guy playing the way he did in that AFC championship game. No way. So, but yeah, no, I would be looking at fortifying wide receiver. Number one priority for me. How about you, Bob?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of articles talking about Tony moving into that wide receiver one role. We'll see if that comes to fruition. For me, it's the kind of the offensive line, right? I always feel like the stronger that is, the better off we're going to be, right? We're not too deep on it. I mean, we got some good players and we got some decent players there, but I'd like to just have a solid thing. I've heard so many interviews about Patrick Mahomes saying that he makes sure his blitz and cover packages are solid before they move on to any throwing or running, right? They're making sure every guy knows who they're blocking, and that I just want to see Patrick be happy in that sense, right? I don't want there to be any doubt in any of the guys up front. I'd like to see like an O-line, like the Eagles O-line, right? Just like that's all you hear is how dominant that line is, especially with Pacheco coming in, right? Just opens up the run game. I would love to see that position group come up, but I don't know if that really comes through rookies or anything like that, though. Man, it's hard to say. Like I really like what we did. I'm with you guys. I would love to see weapons. I think our defense grew a lot. It's still growing. We're still going to have really young defensive players on our side. So that, I mean, just more reps for them. They're just going to get better and better. So yeah, weapons at this point for me.
It's all about skill position players in the NFL.
Yeah.
On offense.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say about Kadarius Toney real quick. I don't know if you guys knew that. You know, he did the corn dog right wide open. And then Sky Moore runs the reverse play on the opposite side. Yep. They weren't supposed to run that, obviously. They were lined up in the wrong formation. We all heard that. I don't know if you guys heard the interview, though, about Mahomes talking. Like, he knew it was in the wrong formation, but he was still going to go Toney's side, right? And so he calls the cover 2 call, whatever he's calling. He looks at Kadarius Toney, and Toney's the one that points across the field to Sky Moore, like, hey, you see what's going on? And Patrick Mahomes goes, oh, and motions him over, right? So, like, right there, that just kind of shows me, like, where Toney's football IQ is, right? I've seen that from across the field. So, him moving up into that wide receiver 1 role, I feel like could be a thing.
Yeah, no, I would love to see that. And if that's the case, then you'd have 2 stud wide receivers on your team,
right?
With Patrick Mahomes, hey, even better. But yeah, looking forward to see it. Draft's coming up here pretty soon. They're getting the combine in the books, and there'll be some chirping and some chattering on media and in the news about where the Chiefs are looking and who they've interviewed at the combine. All that kind of stuff starts leaking out. So we'll definitely look at that when we get a little bit more info and we go a little bit closer to the draft. Got our man JT's in the house. What's up, JT from the Carolinas?
Coming in hot.
Out there in a beautiful part of the country. Good to see you, JT. Thanks for jumping in, man. Appreciate it. Be interesting to see what his Panthers do this year. I always pull for the Panthers.
I feel like that's one of those teams that are starving for a QB too. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, be interesting to see what they can do out there. But we'll I don't know if we'll be back next week or not. We're going to try and do shows regular here in the offseason. I don't know that we'll get to one every week, but when there's news to talk about and things to break down, we will do it. We appreciate everybody for joining in. It's good to be back in here. It's good to see everybody. Oh, yeah. It's good to see John C. and Big Doug and Chris and Laney and our man JT in here. Keep an eye out on the channel, too, for some shorts, and we'll do some bite-sized clips. Breaking news happens, we might jump on and do a quick show. Well, once we get closer to the draft and the free agency heats up, there's going to be plenty to talk about. But right now, I'm still just basking in the glory of
right.
Super Bowl, man. It's awesome.
I'm going to go rewatch it again tonight.
Right. And it puts such a different feel and vibe to the offseason than not winning and coming up short. So, enjoying that. Looking forward to some warmer weather. Bo, we'll see you out there in sunny Las Vegas.
And maybe we do a show while you guys are out here or something.
Yeah. No, yeah. Do all 3 of us, get 3 of us together. That'd be fun for sure. Maybe there'll be some news or some stuff that'll come up between now and then. But as always, thank you for watching and joining. Click like, click subscribe, share the show, tell a friend, tell a family member. And until we see y'all next time, take care, be well, and let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs. Thank you, everybody.